Taking a Broad Tuesdays, and g'day to Eel Reerg.
Hey, thanks for having me back. If you guys hear some background noise, it's because Cornville and I went to Dino's Bar and Grill for this one. That's where we're recording this one from.
That's right. So we've asked everyone to keep it down, but you know what Dino's Bar and Grill's like, so no promises there. So yeah, so look, it's always I've been really enjoying going through this. So we're going to try to do chapters 5 and 6 today, but it may only end up being chapter 5 because chapter 5 is fucking long. I mean, for Lorne, like it is. I reckon it must be the longest chapter in the book, and it's in typical really poor writing style. It's like a lot of stuff actually happens in this chapter. Like this could have been 2 or 3 chapters if it was written correctly and things were fleshed out and ideas, but there's like 3 themes in here that just aren't touched on. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a lot of something, I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of something. But no, how's your week been so far, mate?
Great, I had a Monday off, so I was back at it today, but I didn't do anything today. So,
Yeah,
did you
perfect.
guys have? You guys don't have Memorial Day. Yeah, it's not a holiday in Australia, is it?
No, look, we have a holiday we call it Anzac Day, which from what I understand of your Memorial Day is probably fairly similar. So it kind of lets us reflect on people that have served us and away at war and that kind of thing. So yeah,
Okay,
we do have a holiday for that, but it's in April, so we already had that one.
gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so let's say hello to everyone, then we'll just crack straight into it. Now, at some point in this stream, I'm probably just going to have to duck out for 5 minutes. So, you know, I'll either do some intermission music or, I'll get you to take over. We'll just see what happens.
All right, fair enough.
So, g'day, Cookie Whoopie Pie, Mandy S, Winnie's boyfriend slash husband, La Senorita, The Time Machine, Sad Face '09, Popeye the Trailer Man, Sam Fordyce 2011, Cornville Councillor, Cyber Squeak, g'day Cyber, great stream before as always, Evil Little McNuggets, hi Precious, Dustin's 12-year-old decoy named Laura, who else we got? We've got Rachel D. Hello, Rachel D. Honest. G'day, Honest. Anthony R. Kingpin. Um, I'd like to remain anonymous. Clown with a knife.
Uh,
Eel Reerg. And cool. I think that's all so far. So hello to all of you, and yeah, look, we'll crack into it. So let's get our little novel up here.
we should do a quick recap.
Yes,
Do you wanna get
that
us
is a
up to
great
speed of where we
idea.
are?
That is a great idea. Um, so we started out with Lorne decided that he wanted to enroll in the army because of how heavily 9/11 had impacted himself. So he goes to basic training. He
And
hit,
how did 9/11 impact him, Cornville?
Not sure, not sure. We had
Okay,
to we
okay,
had to do
gotcha.
we really had to try to make up our own minds on that. Would have been lovely if the author gave us a bit of insight there, but not to be, unfortunately. And g'day, Dustin Thomas and Moton G, Armoni's dad. And so, okay, so after basic training, what happens then, Eel?
Um, he goes over to Iraq, and they have like unadulterated freedom.
Mm.
They're able to just kind of drive around and
Let me
get
interrupt
their
you
get
for a
their
sec.
bearings of the place.
I do have to go and
Absolutely.
take my 5 minutes now. So why don't you do the recap while I am missing
Like,
in
okay,
action?
perfect.
Okay, I'll be back in a sec.
All right. Okay, this is my stream now, everyone. Eel Reerg time, baby. Okay, so goes over to Iraq. They go on like a beach day or whatever. They drive around in a Humvee on a beach day. An athletically built suicide bomber explodes in front of their Humvee, killing no one except for the Iraqi guy. Then Aaron, who we're doing a name change. It's not Aaron. It is we're calling him Lorne throughout our reading of this book. So Lorne falls in love with his bunkmate named Paul. and they have the gayest relationship ever, but it's in the military, so don't ask, don't tell, so they can't tell anybody. Um, then they go back. There's a lot of going back and forth. They're moving munitions from place to place. They're really doing anything but what people in the army would do. And then they then Paul dies, I guess. Um, and then uh, I guess Lorne freaks out. He loses it in the field. Um, I don't know why exactly, or some kids explode for some reason, and then he loses it in the field, and that basically gets us up to chapter five, where we find out he has been in a psychiatric hospital for some time. I don't know. I'm a little fuzzy on what's happening. It's not very clear about this stuff. Um, yeah, that brings us up to chapter five, where some other great things happen. Um, I'm gonna start diving into chapter five for before Cornwall gets back, because that's pretty much all that happens. Okay, so this is chapter five. All that stuff has happened. Lauren looked up at the clock above the door of his room. It read 1:45 p.m. In just a few hours, he would be on a plane and headed for home. He'd spent the last 3 months in a psychiatric ward of the hospital trying to get back to a normal state of mind. The doctor had told him the images that he had seen and the echoes of the cries that he had heard would never leave him, and there was no way anyone could make him forget what happened. Um, okay, so his doctor is basically like, "You're never gonna get better. You might as well just give up forever. You're a lost case, Lauren." Um, the only thing that anyone could do was to help him learn how to deal with them so that he could continue on with his life in a somewhat normal way. It's been 3 months since he lost it in the field, but in his mind, it felt like it had just happened yesterday. He began to wonder if he was ready to leave the hospital and be in society without supervision. Last thing he wanted to do was to hurt an innocent person because of an unconscious state of mind. Okay, so this is a little bit more of Lorne, um, projecting. It's why we changed his name to Lorne. This is just Lorne, trying to explain why he did what he, like, real life Lorne did, in Nashville. But it wasn't his fault, you see, because he was in an unconscious state of mind. I mean, he was conscious, he was awake, but he wasn't in his right state of mind. I think that that's what Lorne is trying to get across here. No, he said as he looked in the mirror of the small bathroom. As he looked into the mirror of the small bathroom. "I'm ready. The doctor wouldn't release me if he didn't think I was ready." He pulled on his thin jacket, went to the bed, closed his suitcase, and picked it up along with his briefcase full of papers, and then walked out the door. On his way to the checkout desk, he met a nurse in the hall. I wonder how big her breasts were, as that's the only character aspect that he's described thus far. He met a nurse in the hall that had helped the doctor with Lorne while he had been there. He talked to her for a few minutes, then she gave him a hug. Why? And wished him luck as he lifted his suitcase from the floor and started toward the checkout desk. Okay, why did she give him a hug? Like, I don't know. Things. Fucking stupid. Lorne took one last look around before he boarded the plane. He never really thought he'd be at all upset about leaving the place where he had lost so much of himself. But he felt a straining feeling in his stomach because he was leaving what he had grown used to in a year. I guess he's been here for a year. Like, it feels like he's been here for like 2 weeks, but apparently a year has gone by. Oh, he was in the psychiatric hospital for most of that time, so okay. Um,
Oh
leaving
yeah,
people behind that he grew.
I'm back by the way.
You back, Cornville?
Yes, yes.
Brilliant. I am on the third paragraph here.
Lovely.
So far, he's looked himself in the mirror
Mhm.
and said, "No, I'm ready to leave the psychiatric hospital." But he doesn't want to hurt people when he is in an unconscious state of mind.
Right.
I don't.
And so have we been given any kind of fleshed out detail about is he having periods of unconsciousness where he's unaware of what he's done? Anything like that?
No, no.
No.
But a nurse did hug him, so no,
Perfect.
it's the most important thing that's happened
Did
so
we did
far
we
is a
find
nurse
out
getting
anything
hugged.
about her weight? I'm wondering. I know he does
You
like
know,
to
I
focus.
questioned how large her breasts were, but
Yes.
we did not, unfortunately, get that. We didn't get the placing of her name tag.
No.
I'm
I,
sad to say.
I did notice that we did open up with some more cock talk. So
Yes,
that's
yes, of
lovely.
course. As we established, Lorne is unable to understand the passage. He's like a dog. He doesn't understand the passage of time unless he's actively looking at a clock. So new
Yes.
viewers might not be aware.
No,
Anyway,
that's true. And g'day, Smokey the cat. The Roos were holding me, but we've had peace talks and we're all good.
oh, and a new Australian war against some fauna down there. Um, but he felt a straining feeling in his stomach because he was leaving what he had grown used to in a year and leaving behind people that he grew to care about. So he's been there for a year. Um, didn't feel right about leaving. He felt
Mhm.
like his job here was still unfinished, but could not do anything about it. He looked down at the ground in front of him and then made his way up the portable staircase and entered the airplane that would carry him back to the States. He found his way to his seat and prepared for the plane to take off, and then stared out the window at the country that was full of turmoil. When his plane began to roll down the runway, he muttered to himself. Okay, let's talk about this last paragraph a little bit. What was he? Why is he feeling unsatiated in his work? Did he expect to win the war?
Well, I think so. I think by the way he tells it, like the whole idea was he would go over there, and yeah, that's when he would come back was when the war was over, and he was going to be the one to finish it.
Okay, just Independence Day, he was gonna or like the Avengers, he was gonna nuke the spaceship that controlled all the Iraqi athletically built terrorist bombers, and they were gonna just drop to the ground.
I think so. I think that's what he had in mind. So he must be quite disillusioned now that the war's still going, and he made no impact at all.
Okay, okay. He couldn't even save those three children.
I know. And we all know how much he loves kids. So that.
Right, yeah, that's why he's in jail. Okay, all right. This,
And g'day, to catch a
this
professor.
is this is what he muttered to himself. Oh, if you guys aren't subscribed to Catch a Professor, go over there and check it out. He does some great work, I must say.
Absolutely.
This is madness, or this is it. No more madness. This is where I need to start to try and start my life over again. A hell of a chore that's going to be. He closed his eyes and let his mind drift away as the plane began lifting higher and higher in the air. When the plane finally leveled out, Warren took a couple pictures out of his family. He prayed that he could be the person they expected him to be. Always did his best to make his mother proud of what he'd done, but this was altogether different. Not for her, but it was for him. This is
But
so
like in what
like the way he writes is so confusing.
in what way is it different? Like I'm not. I don't understand what he's
I
trying to
don't
say.
neither. Like
So just read
I
that
don't
again.
know. Okay. A hell of a chore that's gonna be. He prayed that he could be the person they expected him to be. He always did his best to make his mother proud of what he'd done. This was altogether different. Maybe not for her, but it was for him.
So
So he's gonna do something. He doesn't know if that can make her proud, but he's already gotten out of psychiatric ward.
yeah, and so
I
I'm
don't
guess
know.
he's saying he's not proud because he didn't achieve his goal and that. And while he knows that his mother's always proud, he's gonna feel differently about it or some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. He put the pictures away, then lost himself, and he lost himself again. He lost himself in peaceful thoughts as he looked out the window at the sight of fluffy white clouds. It looked like cotton, and it made it feel like he was sitting in heaven. He thought of Paul as he slipped off to sleep and wondered if this was what Paul was viewing in heaven. Okay. Right, kind of weird, but sure. Is he? Oh, okay, whatever. Maybe this is a time to add in like some religion, but it's not important. The flight was long after making three flight changes before finally landing in Indianapolis, Indiana. 23 hours and 13 minutes long to be exact. He was tired and was
13.
relieved when right? It's supposed to be 13.
Supposed to be 13
If only it was
minutes.
37 hours and 13 minutes
Would have
long.
been perfect. Such a missed opportunity.
He was tired and was relieved when he set his first foot down on the soil of his home country. He hadn't gotten much sleep on the plains, and he was anxious to get home and get in his own bed after so long of sleeping on army issue bunks. He was in a psychiatric ward.
Yeah, he had massive anxiety about getting home and into his own bed.
Right, of course, yeah. Okay. Tired and relieved to say, yeah, I got sleep. Okay. There was a large crowd of people in the airport to welcome the troops home as they walked in the door. He shook the hands of many people that showed support for him and the rest of the troops. After getting about three-quarters of the way through the crowd, Lorne caught a glimpse of his mother and began moving toward her, with a happy but nervous smile on his face. Before he could set his bags down, she threw her arms around him and felt her joy and relief that he was home. I'm so happy you made it home safely, she muttered to him. She didn't mutter that to him, she just said it to him.
Yeah.
Okay, and also, here we go
Well,
again
maybe
with the
maybe she
bullshit.
did. Maybe she did. Oh, so go to home. Like, why are you talking like that, Mum? You
Right, she
fucking
doesn't
weirdo.
she doesn't want to look like a total loser in front of all of the other troops'
Yeah,
parents, you
that's
know? Or
right.
she doesn't
Because she's
But this is the
embarrassed of
same
him.
thing. Right. This is the same
You
thing
said you were
when he
gonna
was
win the
flying over.
war. Sorry.
This is like it's like the same thing at the beginning where he doesn't understand that troops fly commercially to the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
It's not a giant military plane that's flying back and forth from Iraq to wherever they're going. It's just ugh,
He doesn't
I
get
don't
it at all. And g'day,
know.
g'day, Dr. Cassandra. I died it by myself. Pussy Destroyer, Jenny from the block, Bend Over. Welcome to you all, and Sean McClure.
Did you know I just want to shout out Ben Dover is gay, and so in
Oh,
the chat.
and I believe if I've seen he's currently looking for, so hit him up,
He's
guys.
taken to he's taken to Cornville three-way streams for his to find his next partner. So, come on guys. Somebody take one for the team.
Yep.
All right. So happy you made it home safely, she muttered to him. Was he home safely? He thought to himself. I guess he said it in his head because it's in quotations. Did he really make it home safely? Or was the person that his mother knew before Was the person that his mother knew before still left in Iraq, while another Lorne, damaged beyond repair Lorne, came home in his place? That's not correct. Okay. Could he hold up to the expectations that stood before him in this world that had been without him for so long? For a long horror-filled year. I wanna fix it. It's not right. It doesn't flow right. You know what I mean?
It is.
Every single
It's
fucking line.
it is very hard to fight the urge to fix this shit.
He pushed the thoughts from his head when his mother moved away from him and picked up his briefcase. Let's get you home, she said with with a broad smile on her face and a tear of joy rolling down her aged and worried cheek. Okay,
And
Cornville,
yep,
you take the next couple pages.
cool, mate. And I really love the way that he depicts his mum in this, like, because this is what he wants. This is what he wishes Mama Gwen was like. But like, in reality, if this was happening, Mama Gwen is like, righto, get in the car, let's get you home. No fucking tear of joy or anything. Be like, this motherfucker's back again. And g'day, poop frog. Alrighty. So Lord picked up his suitcase and followed her to the car, waving and saying thank you to people that gave him praise as they walked by. He set his suitcase in the trunk and closed it, then went around to the passenger side of the car and sat himself upon the soft, warm leather seat. His mother, already sitting in the driver's side, started the engine and gave him a quick, proud glance. She realised he was deep in thought when he had his head down and his eyes closed. Or asleep. Like, if I look at someone and
Wait,
their head is down and their eyes are closed, I would not assume they're deep in thought. I would assume they're asleep.
or he's like narcoleptic. He just passed out. He was just walking to the vehicle and now he's asleep.
Well, that's a good
Also,
point.
his mother was sitting on the driver's side, but she started the engine. Why?
Well, yeah.
Like,
I don't.
I don't understand. Why
Yeah.
isn't? Okay, whatever.
So he is literally, he's put his bag in the trunk. He's walked in, opened the door, sat down, just gone head straight down, eyes closed.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And why is his mom like? I don't know. She was carrying his suitcase. He puts him in the car. She goes around. She's like starting the car. She's waiting for him to get into the car and then sleep before she starts the car.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is odd. This is an odd family, man.
it is a very weird family. Okay, Lorne, are you all right? She asked him with a worried look upon her face. Lorne opened his eyes and looked at her. She saw a tear falling down his cheek. She saw a tear falling down his cheek. Oh no, sorry, I've read that wrong. I've had a Lorne there. She saw a tear falling down his cheek. I thought it was the other way around. I don't deserve all this attention, he told her. All these people are here praising me and the other soldiers while there are people dying over there still. He looked away at the parking area, then back to his mother again. He saw the worried look on her face, so he changed gears quickly to assure her that he was fine. I'm sorry, Mum. Let's go home, he said to her with a smile that he wondered if she could see that he had to paint it on.
Okay,
Okay.
so they're like the 1990s Bulls rolling into a town. Just, oh my God, they're here. It's Dennis Rodman. Oh my
Yeah,
God. But it's troops. Like,
that's right. And look, I don't wouldn't think that they'd be getting cheers and that. Like, I'm sure a lot of people, respectfully, will say that thanks for your service and that kind of stuff, which is excellent. But I don't think it would have been a tick, like, he's making it out like it's a tick attack parade, like, when they've come back from completing a war, from like at the end of World War One and Two and that kind of stuff. Like, it's
yeah.
yeah,
It's just a regular Tuesday at the Indianapolis airport. And I'd like
yeah.
to point out, I died it by myself comment. Mrs. Armstrong, your son has died in battle. Yep.
That is what it would be like.
Yep.
All right. So she put the car in gear, and they quickly made their way out of the airport parking lot and onto the highway that would take them home. Moving the car in the right lane to get on the off-ramp, she began making small conversation with him to get his mind off whatever he was thinking about. Small conversation. So, how
All
was
talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, how was the flight back to the States? She inquired. It was good. A little bumpy at times, but some turbulence is expected in a flight as long as that one, he replied. Like, such weird conversation. Like, it is.
Yeah, it's like they've never met.
That's right. It's like so unnatural. Like, they've got no kind of rapport that you'd have with
Mystery?
someone you've known for your whole life. They've got no kind of like Yeah, it's like they've met for the first time sitting on a bus and they're just trying to fill in time with their, oh yeah, no, it was good, a little bumpy at times, but I guess you expect that. Yeah, okay. I hope you don't mind, but I redecorated your room. I painted it blue with red and white border paper. I also had the old brown carpet replaced with a light blue one, she described. I don't mind. It actually sounds pretty nice. That brown carpet was old anyway. That needed to be replaced. Brilliant. Yeah, I wish I had the money to do it when you were still in school, but money was tight then, she replied. Are you trying to tell me I was expensive? Lorne asked with a joking tone in his voice. Nah, I wouldn't say it like that. She joked back at him with a wink in her eye and a pat on his leg. Fucking hell. He
She
gave,
had other children too.
but
Like
no,
now would be a great time to go, hey, how's Lori or whatever, whatever his
yeah,
sister's name is.
but those
No,
those other
no.
ones don't matter. Lorne was the only important
Would
child.
they be here to see him too? We haven't seen you in a year, Lauren. How are you? We haven't seen you since high school graduation. How you been, man? I know, you had a tough time over there, but glad to see you again, buddy.
Yeah,
Like, no, it's just her. Lauren must be a huge asshole. No one is here to greet him at the airport except for his mom.
yeah. Well,
Jesus.
he is a huge asshole. But and that's the thing. Like in his little world, he should be the only one exists. All the other kids, they were just they were the practice kids, and she got it
Mm.
right with Lorne. He gave her a smile and moved his eyes back to the road. He all of a sudden got covered in a cold sweat and his heart began racing when his mother slowed to make a right-hand turn and he saw his friend Paul standing on the corner in uniform with an M16 rifle resting on his shoulder. What the fuck does he have against punctuation? Seriously. Like, this is fucking craziness. Okay, so,
Even when he uses it, he doesn't use it right. Like
no.
he'll use a comma and he won't close that comma, like that secondary thought. It's so crazy.
Yep. Okay, so now he's having visions of Paul. Um, Lorne rubbed his eyes quickly and looked again. Gone. Nobody there at all. What was that all about? He wondered. He looked over at his mother to see if she had seen the panic all over him. Thank God she had her attention focused on the road. He did his best to quickly calm his heart rate and remove the sweat from his face without giving away any hint of something happening. As she slowed the car to turn into the driveway, Lorne read the big sign that was stretched from one tree to another on opposite sides of the driveway. It read, Welcome home, Lorne, in big red and blue letters with a white background. So they're really going the patriotic route here.
Right, yeah.
Looking at his mother in appreciation, he leaned over and gave her a kiss on her cheek. Thank you, Mom. No, Lorne, I'm the one that should be thanking you, she said with a
Here it
serious tone in
comes.
her voice. Okay, she's a serious tone. So she's like, not just a throwaway line. She's like, no, Lorne, I'm the one that should be thanking you. For what? He asked.
Say it.
For being born, she replied. Fuck you. What a stupid
Mwah,
fucking thing
chef
to
kiss.
say. He's
Amazing. Wow, beautiful.
his mother that gave birth to him is thanking him for being born. I don't think I have ever heard or seen that written in my life. Just
Yeah,
amazing.
it's the strangest thing to thank someone for, especially a mother. Like, you know what? It would have made even more sense if Paul had said it. Man, you're my best friend over here. Thanks for being born. But his
Mm.
mom gave birth to him. Like, that's not, it's just backwards.
Yeah, like she is the one that actually did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Uh,
I think it would. The only scenario that works is for the son to say that to the mother, which I still think would be pretty fucking weird. Like, I've never thanked my mum for
yeah.
giving birth to me. Like,
Also, he gave her a kiss on the cheek in the car. Like, it's very difficult to tell where somebody is aiming with that smooch when when the two of you are sitting in a vehicle. Like
yeah,
that's don't do that, Lauren. Don't try it in there.
no, that's a good point. And g'day Mutang and Bee's Knees. And yeah, that's a good point that Bee's Knees says. He flirts with Gwenilla all the time. They do have a very flirty relationship for a mother and son.
She is not receptive to it. That's important to note. But yes, he does flirt with her a lot.
But he does. And g'day Lawns West Salad. And he hasn't received the Medal of Honor just yet, Lawns West Salad. But, give it time. It's coming. All right. So, he watched a tear roll from her eye and down her cheek and realised how lucky he was to have a mother like her. After the car came to a stop, they both got out and walked to the trunk to retrieve Lorne's bags. Hang on a second. Were they already at home? Oh no,
Yeah,
they turned into the driveway and they read that. Yeah, okay, so they're turning into the driveway. He sees the sign saying "Welcome home, Lorne," and while she's still driving into the driveway, he kisses her on the cheek. I, as the fucking idiot I am, assumed he would have waited until the car had stopped, so therefore there was, no need to say that the car had stopped, but no. Oh, sorry, Lorne.
He put the car in the off position.
Just like the PTO switch. They closed the trunk and walked towards the house, his mother fumbling through her purse on the way to find the key to unlock the door. Okay, and once again, this might just be me, but don't most people have their door keys, on the same keyring as their car keys? Like,
I know I do.
Like,
I guess Mama Lorne here is like, you know what? I'll leave the key at the house. She's actually smart. I'm not gonna lug around this hefty key everywhere I go. I only use it at home. I'll just leave it at home.
So I've got my car key and I've got my house key. Fucking weird.
Go.
After she had the door unlocked, she walked in with Lorne in tow. Setting his bags on the floor in front of him, he flipped the light switch next to the entrance door to the on position. And so many things here for me. So why do we need so much detail about entering the house? Like, she opened the door.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like if you open the door, unless something else happens there, like you open the door and we're immediately hit over the head by a fry pan from the intruder that's been knocking or shit in your house. Like, everyone assumes you're gonna go in. You don't need to say that. Like, if he just said, she opened the door and they entered, no one's going to go, well, how did they walk through? What did he do with the bag that was in his hand? What did he flick the light to the on position or the off position? And just say turned on the light.
No, don't even. Just, they walked in the house. Surprise, everyone yelled.
Exactly.
Fucking superfluous.
So anyway, they walked in, they've turned on the light, and then surprise! A chorus of yells came from people jumping out of hiding places and startling Lorne. His face turned pale against the unexpected event and had to quickly regain himself from flashbacks of Iraqi insurgent attacks. Okay, so probably not the best thing to throw a surprise party for someone that has come back from war in a state that they've had to spend time in a mental hospital. And
right.
Also, why was the yelling of surprise giving him flashbacks to Iraqi insurgents? Is that what they did when they attacked? Like when they jumped out in front of the car to blow it up, was he like, surprise? Or from behind the building when they come out of the police station, surprise! Like, that's weird.
No, and importantly, he was ambushed by an athletically built suicide bomber and a sniper. And neither of them yelled anything. Which they could have yelled and he could associate yelling, but when he lost it, it was just 3 kids getting exploded by some sort of projectile. So it wasn't even like a surprise attack. So it doesn't fit here. He's all over the place.
I mean, look, I've never been in the army and that, so maybe snipers do yell surprise before they shoot someone, but I think that really goes against the whole sniper philosophy, but who knows? Who knows? There might have been special occasion, like special Iraqi snipers there. Anyway, wiping the sweat from his clammy hands, he worked up a smile and began shaking hands and giving warm hugs to friends and family members that gathered together for his return from the war. His mother had all kinds of food set out on the table and counter, most of which were favourites of his that his mother made special. Made special, not especially. There was
Right.
of course, and I do love the food here. There was chicken pie, butterscotch white rice crispy squares, Reese's peanut butter squares, vanilla cream puffs, apple pies, chocolate cake, mashed potatoes mixed with corn and motherfucking ham cubes. Are you serious? I've never seen ham cubes mixed in potato before. Spare ribs with Mountain Dew, punch and water to wash it all down with. So this is basically a 6-year-old's birthday. Like,
Right, yeah. You can take out the chicken. You can take out like the savory items,
yeah,
the chicken pie, and the. I think that's it. Or wait, the mashed potatoes and ham cubes, and yeah, it's just like a child going, "This is what I want at my party," and then a
yeah.
parent acquiescing to this.
Look,
Oh my god.
Lorne's gonna have a massive sugar crash later tonight. Everyone
Also,
has
what's
it.
the point of this? What's the point of telling us exactly what? Just there's some stuff. She put out a spread. You know what would be interesting? How about instead of spending a paragraph talking about exactly what kind of food there is, tell us who came, what their relationship is to Lorne. Maybe he murders one of them later. Maybe, I don't know. Just such a
Yeah,
waste of space.
yeah, exactly right. Like, I mean, that's no one was going to be one, but this is what Lorne is interested. Lorne is interested in food and sex, so that's where you get a lot of detail. He's not interested in all that kind of bullshit about actual his time in war or the kind of evolution of this PTSD he's apparently gathered and how that turns him into the monster he eventually becomes. That's not important. What is important to Lorne is food. So you get all this information. And all that needed to be said there was, his mother had prepared especially a spread of all his favourite food. No reader is going to be sitting there, but how am I going to know what his favourite food is if you don't tell
Right.
me? Like it,
What was
and
in the mashed potatoes? Was
yeah.
there what sort of vegetable was there corn maybe in the mashed potatoes?
And look, on top of that, I mean, that's like you say, look, we don't. What we needed was other detail. We needed to know who was there, things they were saying to him, kind of the relationships he had with the different ones. And the thing is, it's all about word economy. If if you want to go into all this detail about all your favorite fucking food, this book needs to be a lot longer. Like, you can't have
Yeah.
a a 13 or 12 page book, whatever the fuck it is, and to go into this much detail. Like, it's
But
just
like the two most important parts of this book so far have been boot camp
mm-hmm.
and the psychiatric ward. We got nothing from either of them. Those are the thing. Those are like the pillars that you build the foundation of this story on. It's like those are the first two. Those are the most important things that happen. Nothing. Nothing. But we get a paragraph about fucking mashed potatoes and corn and ham cubes.
It's amazing. All right. Everyone had their turn talking to Lorne and asking him all kinds of questions about being over in Iraq and everything we were doing there. What? He's everything we were doing there. Not everything
He
he was
literally wrote
doing.
from a first person perspective.
Oh my god. He felt like a broken record after answering most of the same questions 5 or 6 times over. Some of the questions hit him hard, and he did his best at answering them without breaking into tears. But most of the questions that were asked were ones that he would expect people to ask him anyway. Well, what were the fucking questions?
Jazz. Yeah, can we get one? Fuck. We got 8 different food items, not one fucking question.
Yeah, and we got several different ways to describe that he was asked the same question. Like, he described the questions that they were the same, that some of them were ones that you would expect, others that, hit him hard and made him want to cry, but didn't actually tell us what the questions were. It was about 10:30 p.m. before the last couple of people finally shook Lorne's hand and gave him a hug before walking out the door to go home. He was happy when he was finally able to get in the shower and soak his head. I just love, like, these are things that Lorne actually says. These are his actual phrases.
Yep.
and soak his head and try to rid himself of the headache that had developed from the rush of questions over the evening. Once again, what are the questions? When he got out of the shower, he dried himself off and put on his night clothes, then stood looking at himself in the mirror.
Second time he's looked at himself in the mirror in this chapter, by the way.
That's true. Right at the start, he looks at himself, doesn't he, and says, "No, you got this," or
Yeah.
some shit like that.
Also, if he's being annoyed by all of the questions, hey, I don't want to talk about it. Why don't you fucking say that? What's his fucking problem? Hey, this was obviously traumatic. Don't ask me about it.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Will I be able to find the same man that I used to be before I went to Iraq, or are these images of war going to haunt me more as the time goes on? He asked himself. He let his head fall down and closed his eyes as he said a silent prayer. After saying, Amen, he lifted his head back up and took one last look in the mirror at himself before finding his way down the hall to his bedroom.
What was the prayer?
Well, it's just a silent prayer.
He was just like, general good stuff, please. Thank you, amen.
Yep. Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub.
Right.
Time for bed. His mother had already decided to retire for the night, and she would clean up from the party the next morning, so he had already said goodnight to her. After climbing into bed and turning the light out, he laid there looking up into the dark and let his mind drift back in time to when he and Paul was playing basketball. Fuck you. Let his mind drift back in time to when he and Paul was playing basketball and Paul had accidentally poked him in the eye, making his eye turn black and blue. Lorne smiled.
What was this?
Hey?
What was this? When? When did that happen?
Yeah, that's
Would
right.
have been great.
Yeah, so we're reflecting on something that we didn't know had happened. Lorne smiled at the memory and wished his friend had made it back home alive instead of inside a decorated pine box that was to be placed in the ground. So,
He's dead, everyone. Get it?
But it was to be placed in the ground, so it hasn't how long since Paul died? How long was he in the
6
mental
months.
hospital?
A number of months, if I recall correctly.
So it has been a number
not...
of months since Paul died, and he has not yet been buried.
Better not be an open casket at his funeral, because
that
yikes.
cannot be the case. He had difficulty sleeping all night, and he tossed and turned when he did finally fall asleep from the dreams he was having. What dreams, Lorne? When morning finally shone... Oh, come on.
Wait. The last sentence. He had difficulty sleeping all night, and he tossed and turned when he did finally fall asleep. It makes it sound like he fell asleep from the dreams he was having, which is impossible.
Well, that's true, yeah. When he did finally fall asleep from the dreams he was having. That's right. So he was tossing and turning. I mean, that most likely would have been when he was having the dreams. Like the nightmares he were having were probably making...
Right, yeah, but the order
that's right.
He structured this in is just backwards. It's
Yep.
not even backwards, it's just like middle, last, first. It's not right.
That's right. When morning finally, it should be shone in, but it's shown in from the window, Lorne stumbled into the kitchen with his eyes still half closed. Good morning, his mother said in a gentle tone. Good morning, he returned. By the looks of you, you should go back to bed for another 8 hours, she said as she set a fresh hot cup of coffee on the placemat in front of him. Thank you. I didn't sleep too well last night.
It makes it sound like she just poured the coffee on the placemat in front of him. I know it was in a cup. I know it says a cup of coffee.
Yep.
But
it does sound a bit like
hand him the cup.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
No, he's too much of a baby to be handed the cup. She puts it in front of him and, then he can pick it up in his own time because he didn't sleep well. Thank you. I didn't sleep too well last night, he replied. If I stay up all day today, I'll be able to sleep better tonight. Would you like for me to stop by the drugstore and get you something to help you sleep tonight? She asked. No, that won't be necessary. Thank you anyway, Mum, he answered after taking his first sip of hot coffee. What do you want to do today? She asked him. I think I just want to stay home today and get over this jet lag. It will feel nice to just relax and try to get some things off my mind. All right, well, I have to run some errands, so I'll be back this afternoon, she explained. Okay, drive careful, he demanded. Okay, so he demanded that. Okay,
Right.
drive careful, he demanded. I will. He stood up and gave his mum a kiss on the cheek before she walked. Fucking hell, there's a lot of kissing going on.
He can't keep his hands off his mom. Jesus Christ, dude. Lay off it.
Fucking between that and the handshakes, it's all that is happening at the moment. Like kissing and handshakes, the Lorne Armstrong story. He stood up and gave his mum a kiss on the cheek before she walked out the door and then closed the door behind her. After watching her drive away, he poured himself another cup of coffee, sat down on the couch, and hit the power button on the remote control to the television. He turned on the TV. Like, that's all you have to say.
Yeah, right.
He flipped through the channels until he found one with... But I mean, in saying this kind of shit is how he talks to his catfish. Like, he doesn't just say... it's not just like this is how... If he was talking to, say, Ramona... and he was saying, I'm going to turn on the TV, it wouldn't be, oh, I've just turned on the TV. It'd be exactly like this, you know. Oh, sit down on the couch, baby. I'm about to hit the power button on the remote control to turn on the TV, baby. He flipped through the channels until he found one with the world news on it, curious if there were any reports about the war. It was on that channel for nearly 30 minutes before they mentioned anything about the war, and he had almost fallen asleep. He rubbed his eyes and sat up straight after falling back into a slouch so he wouldn't miss anything they had to update about the war. So he'd fallen asleep, then he sits up straight after falling back into a slouch. But he didn't... He sat up after he slouched. But he was asleep.
I can't help you here, Cornville. I can't help you.
He was asleep, which I'm assuming he was sleeping slouched, but he sat up after he is slouched. I don't know, whatever.
How much of this book is talking about him sleeping or needing sleep or needing sleeping pills for his sleep, or he didn't get a good night's sleep, or he dreamt while he was falling asleep? Like, talk about something else.
Yeah. But and that's the other thing. That's what this book really is. Apart from when we get into the killing later, it's eat, sleep, fuck, repeat. That is basically
Right.
what this book is. His eyes grew wide, his hands became clammy, and his heart rate picked up as he began watching images on the television of a suicide bombing that killed 22 people in Baghdad. Baghdad without the H. It brought back sickening memories for Lorne, and tears began to fall from his already tired eyes. So that should be bought, not brought, but in any case, whatever. Maybe I should turn the channel, he thought. But he wanted to see what was going on over there. Being back home didn't make him feel separated from the country that he had just left. It only made him feel stripped of the chance to be able to regain his sanity for himself and for the innocent people of Iraq, and he was afraid that might play heavily on keeping himself from going insane. He wanted to be able to regain his sanity for himself and the Iraqi people. So he wants to regain his sanity for them. So
right, they need him. He's very important. The war was going to end with him.
So he was going to go over there, regain his sanity, because obviously he would find the unaffected Lorne over there, and then tell the Iraqi people, I've regained my sanity, and I've done it for you.
Yay!
And they're all like, yay! We don't care about the war anymore. Lorne got his sanity back.
Like, we give up. We'll toss out the red flag. You know, there's no chance we could win this war.
Yeah, that's right. It just passes through all the insurgents. He's got his sanity back, guys. He's got his sanity back. Ah, fuck! It's over. It's all over. We don't have a shot.
All the athletic suicide bombers to go home. There's no way.
I don't even want this suicide bomb. I just want to go to. I just want to get to the beach. Okay. After all, that is a 2-word sentence there, everybody. 2 words. After all, a person is usually filled with self-guilt when they don't complete a task they set out to do. Was this going to happen? Was he going to drive himself to insanity because he was deprived of finishing a job he swore to himself that he was going to finish? Or is he filled with guilt because of the horrible way he witnessed people dying in front of him and he couldn't stop it? That question made frightening and disgusting images appear in his memory and brought back what he felt was a cold, hard truth in the open. That is just a clusterfuck of very, very poor writing. That is awful.
Yeah.
He
More lost than I was at the start of that sentence.
he should be ashamed of that. That is disgusting. That is just awful. Those people had died because he wasn't where he should have been. He should have realised that things were going too smoothly on those days, that things were just too quiet at those times, and that he was too relaxed to do his job. Sorry, too relaxed in doing his job. Unconsciously, his mouth fell open as these thoughts filled his head. Just then, fucking hell, air breather. Just then the phone rang and snapped Lorne out of his transfixed state of mind. He wiped his eyes of the tears and he just realised had filled them, and then cleared his throat before picking up the portable telephone and hitting the talk button. Hello? Hi. Hi, this is Mum, she stated. Lorne tried to disguise any sign of emotional problems he had just been having when he heard his mother's voice. He didn't want her to think that something was wrong and become worried. Hi, Mum, what's up? He asked, bringing forward a more cheerful tone to his voice. Not much, she answered. What are you doing?
Why did she call him?
So she's just gone to the store for groceries, but during that she needs to call him to find out what he is doing.
She's worried he's masturbating. He had a problem back then.
Lord, are you masturbating to your thoughts again? Watching a little TV and relaxing, he answered. Good. I thought I'd give you a quick call to see if there was anything you needed while I'm out and about. I forgot to ask you before I left this morning, she explained. No, I'm fine, but thank you for thinking about me, though. Wow. You're welcome. I'll see you when I get home. Okay, bye, and drive careful. Lorne hung up the phone with a sigh of relief that he had been able to put his issue past his mother that time, even though it was a very strained effort to do so. He lifted his head up to the ceiling, closed his eyes, and began running through what he was thinking about before the phone snapped him out of it. Those were ridiculous thoughts I had, he said out loud to himself. There's no way I could possibly have known what was going to happen. He looked at the television and saw the news report about Iraq had ended, so he flipped the channel to country music videos, laid himself down on the couch, and drifted off to sleep. Colin Ray.
Not just turn off the TV.
Hey.
You're going to sleep. Just turn off the TV. Why does he need to watch country music videos while he's sleeping?
He wants to hear that sweet, sweet sound to help him drift off. I mean, he doesn't have recordings of Lorne to listen to when he goes to sleep like all the normal people do. So he's got he's got to settle for country music. The sound of a car horn blaring in the driveway snapped him out of his sleep and made him snap up quickly from the couch. A lot of snapping going on. His nerves were on end. For a few seconds until he remembered where he was at and that it was his mother honking the horn in the driveway. He opened the car door to find his mother loading her arms with grocery bags, so slipped on his shoes and hurried out to help her carry them in. That's a bit rude, isn't it? Just to honk your horn for him to come out.
Yeah, especially to somebody with PTSD. That
Yeah,
might not be a great idea, Ma. You just threw
yeah,
him a surprise, but get your fucking brain in,
that's it. And
McQuinn. Jesus Christ.
you like, you know how much he fucking sleeps too. Like,
Yeah, he's constantly asleep.
you look like you just woke up, she stated. I did. What time is it? He asked. It's a little after 4 in the afternoon, she answered. Wow, I guess I really must have been tired. Well, you had a long flight, so that probably wore you out. Well, I feel a lot better now, Lorne explained as he stretched
Slept
and
on the
yawned.
flight.
Yeah. And he's like,
Okay, whatever.
would it like wouldn't the he be more tired from, I mean, if someone I knew had come back from war, I would assume they were tired from war because my understanding of war is you don't get to do a lot of sleep. But in his version of war, they let him sleep in and left him, sweet little
Also,
notes for when he woke up.
he's been in a psychiatric ward for months. Also, the chapter started with him asleep. Also, he slept on the plane. Also, he went home and went to sleep. Also, he slept all day. Like, what the hell, dude?
He
This is more sleep than I get in a month. This is insane.
yeah, mate, he fucking loves it. And g'day Cornville Foreskin and Mr. C and Brian Kane. And yeah, sorry if I missed you coming in, guys. Stumble, repent, repeat. G'day. Where were we up to?
I can take it from here.
All
You want
right,
me to?
go for it.
I can take. All right, all right. Will I feel better now? I feel a lot better now, Lorne explained as he stretched and yawned before taking an armful of grocery bags. Good. Does that mean you'll help me cook dinner? She asked with a smile on her face. Yeah, I guess it does. Lorne smiled at his mom because he could tell she just wanted him to help her so that they could spend some quality time together.
That's
If
our
they wanted to spend
quality
quality
time.
time together, why didn't he go shopping with her? Why didn't she go, hey, come with me?
Yeah.
I don't know. He was happy she missed he was happy she missed him. Okay, great.
Wow.
What are we having for dinner? He inquired. I thought we might make a pizza and then play some cards or something. Would you be interested in that? That sounds good to me. Sounds relaxing too, so it's the perfect way to finish the day. Because he had such a stressful, arduous day.
God, like watching TV and falling asleep really stressed me right out.
Yeah,
Hopefully I can have a less stressful night. Fuck.
Okay, he replied as she fit one more bag of groceries in his already full arms. Good, let's get these groceries inside and get started on our pizza. They finished carrying in the rest of the groceries and began making their pizza. That's what you just fucking said. After eating, they played a few games of rummy, and she got Lorne caught up in all the gossip of the family and told him stories of happenings at bingo and her work. Where does she work? Who's
Yep.
in the family?
And just on that, like, where he's like, let's take these inside and get started making the pizza. If the next line was just after dinner, they played fucking rummy or whatever. Like, no one is going to be sitting there going, but when did you make the pizza? How did we get from here
Right.
to there? Like, it's implied. Like, you're going to make the pizza. We don't need to know that you made the pizza because you already said you're going to do it. You only need to know if that changed. Like, if you've given your intention to do something, if something changed, then say, instead of making the pizza, fucking Laurie came over and Lorne munkled onto her leg for 3 hours or some shit. I don't fucking know, but like,
Yeah, this would have been the perfect time to have all of his siblings over. Hey, I invited Lori and Roy over, and we're all gonna have pizza tonight. Is that okay with you? I know, you're kind of a little soft, but would that be okay? Would you
maybe
be willing
maybe
to-
Roy
But
did
no.
come over. Maybe that was the horn. Roy passed out on the horn
Okay.
again. Oh, I guess Mum's ready for me to bring the groceries in. Ah, fuck, Roy, get your head off that
Oh, you
fucking
fucking
horn.
idiot! Yeah. Get your foreskin off of that horn! He completely enjoyed himself as she took his mind away from Iraq and It helped him to relax easier. She never asked him anything about his time in Iraq while they spent quality time together. Maybe she could see that he was bothered by guilt and the horrible images and memories from the war, and he needed a few hours where he could escape from it all and be himself again. Funny how mothers could always see the most inner parts of their children when nobody else had a clue that something was wrong. I like when he takes a little moments to like, drop a life lesson on the audience.
Yep. And, and I love how he keeps portraying himself like, I don't want to, let anyone know that anything's wrong, so I'm going to put on a brave face and all this kind of stuff, which that's the exact opposite of Lorne, like how he actually is. I mean, this is the kind of motherfucker that takes a picture of himself sad and sends it to that person so they know exactly how sad he is. Like, he has never been one to put on a brave face and, keep his true feelings to himself.
Yeah, he'll cry at the drop of a hat. Like
Yeah.
I think, okay, whatever. Okay. Like my brain is overwhelmed with thoughts about like how this
It's a
is such a
lot.
weird contradiction from
Yep.
the real Lorne.
Yep.
It's after 1 o'clock in the morning when they finally put away the deck of cards and turned the lights out. Lorne was tired again, even though he had gotten a lot of sleep that day. I'm telling you, this guy has like narcolepsy or something.
Yeah.
He requires. He's like a human cat hybrid. He needs 18 hours of sleep a day. We'll leave him alone in a sunbeam. Okay. He got out of his clothes, pulled back the covers, and climbed into bed, feeling good about the time he'd spent with his mother. It wasn't long before he was fast asleep, lost in the endless night of tossing and turning. Lorne woke up to the smell of bacon, eggs, and biscuits flowing across his nose. He pulled some pants on, threw a shirt on, and groggily slid into his slippers. He stumbled clumsily down the hall and into the kitchen toward the coffee pot? Okay, so the coffee pot is in the kitchen. He stumbled. He's like a cartoon who
Yeah.
smells like a apple pie and he's like floating down the hallway towards the coffee pot. Okay, so today we're taking steps in the right direction, folks. Because today, after pouring himself a cup of coffee and spilling a quarter of it on the counter, so this is why he didn't pour his coffee yesterday. He's
Hmm.
fucking clumsy as shit. The counter, he toned into his mother as she spoke. That did say he toned into his mother as she spoke
Do you think that's meant to be
in your
tuned?
copy?
Like he tuned into? Yeah, it says toned in my copy.
Okay,
He toned
okay.
into his mother.
Um, you're not the most graceful person in the morning, are you? She said sarcastically. Lorne groaned as he fumbled with ripping off the couple sheets of paper towels to sop up the mess from overfilling his coffee cup. I've definitely had mornings where I've conjured up more coordination than what I have this morning, he retorted.
This is
Okay.
so stupid.
Have you ever said, I've definitely had mornings where I've conjured up more coordination than what I have this morning? Like,
Never.
what the fuck?
Like, no. That's so unnatural. Like, it's so stilted, which I can only assume is because he doesn't have these kind of like all of his conversation is stilted because like he's making this up. Like he's not drawing on, the playful banter that they have because I don't think they've got any playful banter. It's,
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not an author, but I would assume when you're like writing dialogue, you do like, a preliminary draft where you get the point across, and then you come in and you would like if this was the first preliminary draft, I'd be like, yeah, I'm definitely not my most coordinated in the morning. That's how I'd change that sentence
yeah,
to make it something someone would say.
yeah.
Now,
Lorne's not a draft guy though. Lorne, Lorne-
right, yeah.
he's a one he's a one and done, and that's what your
Uh,
editors are for. They'll fix all this
oh,
shit up.
yeah. I'm sure that really went through this with a fine-tooth comb. He
Yeah.
threw the coffee-soaked paper towels in the trash, added some cream and sugar to his coffee, and shuffled his feet lazily to the kitchen table with his coffee in hand. His mother set a plate in front of him filled with 4 bacon strips, 3 sunny side up eggs, and 1 steaming biscuit that was just pulled from the oven, along with a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. Or so it said on the carton. I
Oh, he's
call that
trying to be funny. He's trying to be funny there. He made a little. He
but
made a
it's
little
not.
joke.
This would you, that would be a line of dialogue for the character to say, not for the author. Now we
No,
can't trust the author.
no.
Is it freshly squeezed? The author doesn't even know. Is any of this accurate? We don't know. Didn't take him long
That's
to
right. I mean,
devour the
the only
food.
way that would work would be like, if Mama Gwen was, here you go, Lorne, a freshly squeezed glass of orange juice. Well, at least that's what it says on the carton. Ha 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 ha.
Right. That that would have been great. You should have edited this.
Oh, I would fucking love to be honest. It just does my head in.
It didn't take him long to devour the food and down his orange juice. Once he finished eating, he began pouring his wake up juice back into himself.
What?
Oh,
What is wake up juice? Is that coffee?
yeah, so he poured himself the coffee. Here's what I gather from this paragraph. He
Yeah.
poured himself coffee, but he was so clumsy that I guess he sat down. He wasn't going to have any breakfast, but he was so clumsy pouring himself coffee that his mom was like, you know what? I got him coffee yesterday. There was no spillage. He tried to get him himself today. There was a ton of spillage. I'm just going to get him his breakfast. She put down his breakfast. In Lorne slash Aaron's mind, coffee was out of sight, so it was out of mind. He finished eating all of his breakfast, and then oh shit, I have coffee. That's right, and that's when he drank the coffee. So now we have the order of events of his breakfast, which plays nothing into the story.
Yep.
But there it is. Are you going to do anything today, or are you going to rest another day? His mother asked. She's like, "Get out of my fucking house.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go see my friend."
sick you already.
I'm gonna go see my friend Derek today. He replied.
No, Lorne. You cannot have Derek in your fucking story. This is not allowed. Like, this is the guy
Why?
that, like, you are recently in jail because you tried to fuck a kid, and your main competition for this kid was Derek. He's not allowed to be in your story. Fuck off.
And this just goes to show that Lauren doesn't have real friends. You don't just go over to someone's house. You don't just decide in the morning, you know what, I'm going over to my friend's house. They might be busy. They might have people over.
Yeah.
You coordinate it. I'm just going
yeah.
to Derek's house.
But see, I think, and you're exactly right, this is a big insight to the fact that he has no friends. But I think he views life as fucking Little House on the Prairie and that kind of shit. Like, you just walk outside and someone's sitting outside fucking peeling potatoes or whatever the shit Derek's doing. And you're like, oh, g'day, Derek. And like, oh, come on over, Lord. Like it's not how things work.
Yeah, and also he hasn't seen this guy in like a year.
Yeah.
So we get no mention of, like, does he have a cell phone? This would be 2007. People had cell phones. He's an adult. It's almost like it's like Tom Sawyer. You're right. It's like Little House on the Prairie. It's 100 years behind the times.
Mm.
I also might go to the Veterans Cemetery. After that, I'm going to come back and make some calls and see if I can find out where my friend Paul is buried. Would you like me to be home when you make the calls? She asked him with a look of concern on her face. No, I'll be fine. Thank you for asking, though. Why would she need to be home when he makes the calls? Does she not trust him with the phone?
So she saw the way he pours coffee. He's like,
Right.
this motherfucker's gonna break my phone.
I like to imagine that there's like a backstory where Lorne was catfished by somebody and he lost $6,000 to the mayor of Italy, and she's like, "Remember that time with the phone, Lorne? Maybe I should be home when you make these calls."
I'll talk to them first and verify they're real, and then
Right.
I'll put them onto you. See, maybe the most recent mayor of Italy scam wasn't the first time he'd been scammed by the mayor of Italy. Maybe it happened before. Because he did say he would do it again in a few years. He didn't say he'd, like,
Yeah.
like the poem wasn't long enough. Maybe there was more lines there. Even though I've been scammed by the mayor of Italy before, I won't let that stop me from doing it again because you're
Let's
all
do it
that I
again for
adore.
sure.
Let's do it again for sure.
Right, there we go. I want Mama Gwen to say, and if she tells you her daughter is her niece, shut it down.
I know how much you love nieces, Lauren.
She asked him with a look of concern on her face. "No, I'll be fine. Thank you for asking, though." "All right then. I'm headed to work now. If you're all set, my number to the office is on the refrigerator in case you need me for anything. Have a good day, Mom." "You too, and be careful," she added. "Be careful," she added. "Okay, I will," Lauren replied. He gave her a kiss on the cheek. Jesus. Third time this chapter, everyone. Before she walked out the door and turned and headed for the shower. What? What? Gave her. Oh, he gave her a kiss on the cheek before she walked out the door. See, there's no commas. Okay, so then turned and headed for the shower. It makes it sound like she walked out the door and then headed for the shower. I guess their shower's outside. Feeling the hot water rush over his head and body was refreshing and relaxing. This is the second shower. Oh, dude, I can't. This is fucking ridiculous. You're right. It's just the fucking same shit. Wash and repeat. This is the second shower, the third time he's gotten a kiss on the head, the second time his mom has left the house and said, "Hey, call me if you need anything."
Yeah.
The second relaxing head dunking that he's done.
Is
My
just
God.
this superfluous, repetitive bullshit. There is no need for this. And like I've already said, and I'll probably say it another 50 fucking times, if you want to go into this much granular detail about useless shit, you have to have a much longer book. Like, we don't need to know any of this. Like, we've learned nothing. Like, the only stuff we've learned so far is that he came home and it was that, and like further to that, and I'm getting mad now, to be honest. Like,
I
the
know, me too.
the whole premise of this fucking book is really him turning into a serial killer because of the events that happened to him in the war. So
It was
the
less than a paragraph.
the 2 months in the mental hospital would have been fucking vital to find out the kind of therapies he had there, the kind of thoughts he was having, concerns that they may have going forward. That was really important, not repetitive kissing your fucking mum. Like, fuck you!
It's the third time. The third time he's kissed his mom in one chapter.
Oh, Jesus.
This is really like, I want an actual psychologist to like. Where's Dr. Cassandra? I want to know what
Yes.
what the hell is going on here, because this is not right. Okay,
No.
I'll power
really,
through here.
really isn't. Maybe we can see if Dr. Cassandra wants to join us one week on here to give us some insights into this.
Absolutely. Oh, this would be the toughest case of her career.
Yeah.
But if she could crack it. Okay, revitalized his energy that he had lost from the long flight across the ocean. After getting dressed, he poured himself another cup of coffee, walked outside, and stood next to the car and let the heat from the sunlight soak into his face. Remember what I said earlier about a beam of sunlight? He's gonna fall asleep right here. This was one of his favorite times of the day, when the sun was just beginning to heat up the earth. It was a comfortable temperature. He finished his coffee and returned his cup to the house before heading off to visit with his friend Derek. Okay, you know what? That last line, this was one of his favorite times of the day, when the sun was just beginning to heat up the earth. It was a comfortable temperature. That could be in a book, like an actual book that an author wrote.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was decent. As he was driving, he took in all the greenery beside the road that he hadn't been able to enjoy for the past year. It was nice to see these things again. it was nice for him to see these things again. The author switches from first person to third person a lot.
Mm.
It helped to ease some of the tension in his muscles that had been growing that morning. He saw Derek sitting outside on the porch peeling potatoes for his mother. Derek stood up when Lauren got.
What the fuck? Who's this on the porch and peels potatoes?
It's like 7 a.m.
This is a,
Like, it's the morning.
this is ridiculous. Sitting on the porch peeling potatoes. Like, this is black and white TV shit. Tom Sawyer,
Mm.
fucking Little House on the Prairie. Like, sitting on the porch peeling potatoes. How many fucking potatoes is he peeling that he is needing to set himself up on the porch? It's like, look, and like, to be honest, like, to be fair, like, when I cook, like, I'll usually have fucking something like playing on my iPad, like, you know what I mean? Because it's pretty fucking boring if you got to
Yeah.
peel some potatoes and shit. But he's gone like, wow, like, I imagine, like, those old black and white like Mickey movies where, like, Steamboat Willie, where they fucking just peeling like pots and pots of potatoes. Fucking hell.
I have such a clear picture of Derek. He's wearing overalls, no
Yes.
shirt underneath.
Yes.
He's wearing a straw hat, and he's got one reed of whatever sticking
Yeah.
out of his
Straw
mouth.
out of
He's
his
been
mouth.
peeling the potatoes.
A-
Yes. And this part of town is in black and white. Lauren's house
absolutely.
is in color, but this part is black and white.
And he's like whistling while he's doing all this.
Yeah, exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
there would not be enough ham cubes to go into this amount of potato that there. Not enough ham cubes in the world.
Well, he's peeling them for the entire town. Has to peel 5,000 potatoes. Derek stood up when Lauren got out of his car and greeted his longtime friend. Hey, Lauren, I heard you were back, so he did not, we have confirmation,
Yep.
did not call Derek to let him know he's coming over.
No, and also this is a long time friend, but Lorne,
Yeah.
has been away at war, and all this kind of stuff. He has not come to see him because, I mean, clearly he's got too many fucking potatoes to peel. Like, but he hasn't he hasn't even talked to him on the phone. Like, Lorne, long time friend, Lorne's just got back. He hasn't rung him up or anything. He's just sitting there peeling his fucking potatoes. Like, oh, hey, Lorne, I heard you were back. Like, oh, well,
Imagine he's
if
been
you heard me
peeling
back, why don't you
potatoes
just flick me a
consistently.
fucking message, you asshole?
I imagine he's been peeling these potatoes for the past year that Lauren has been gone. He's been like, fucking, I'm gonna peel potatoes until that guy gets back.
Yeah. And he hasn't stopped. He's got like a long beard because he's just been sitting there for
Uh,
years, just peeling and peeling and peeling. Fucking cuts
oh,
and
I
bandages
just,
all over his fingers from where he's cut himself with the peeler.
oh, jeez. Oh, poor Derek. I feel bad for him now.
Well, he's Lord's friend.
Every
I feel bad for
character.
him for
Yeah, I mean, if your longtime friend is Lauren,
that.
fucking hell.
You've really got issues. Issues.
It seems like every single character is just like I have no context of what Derek or Lauren's mom or what Sergeant Watkins or what anybody would be doing if Lauren wasn't around. They're just kind of sitting waiting for Lauren to show up.
Yep.
It, okay. Hey Lauren, I heard you were back, Derek stated as he sat down. He set down the potato peeler and reached out to shake Lauren's
Sorry,
hand.
I just read honest comment saying somebody else is churning butter. Like, this like old timey shit everywhere.
Somebody's sewing a quilt and fucking the dad's out in the field with like that thing where he's carrying two buckets on his shoulders,
Yeah.
you know?
Like, kids are like running down the road like with like the fucking what are those?
Barefoot.
Yeah, barefoot, and they've got like a hula hoop which they push along with a stick and fucking crazy.
Derek is Amish, everyone, by the way, in case you didn't know. Yeah, I just got back 2 days ago, Lorne replied. Why didn't you invite me to your party? Derek asked. How have you been doing, Derek? Good. Come up on the porch. I'll get another peeler and you can help me peel these potatoes while we talk. All right. Dick, yeah. Come over to my house and do some free manual labor for me. All right, Lorne answered with a slight smile, knowing Derek just wanted someone to help him so he could get finished with them quicker. These are
Yeah.
19-year-old men.
Yeah.
by the way.
but that's right. But yeah, Lord, that is like slight smile, knowing that Derek just wanted someone to help him get fish. Like that is the literal interpretation there. Like if you're doing the whole, like he's having the slight smile to go, look, I know what's really going on here. What that would be is with a slight smile, knowing Derek just wanted, some company with Lorne while they worked. Like that would be the kind of
Yeah.
hidden thing there. But yeah, come on, dickhead, come and help me peel some potatoes. Where the hidden thing is there, just I want us to spend some time together. Like,
Yeah, and is Derek in school? Does he have a job? He's 19. He graduated with Lorne. Is it summertime? I don't know what the hell is
mm,
happening.
is
All the important information. I know what was in the mashed potatoes
yep.
at his coming home party, but
What
I don't know
what is his
anything.
build? Is he athletic? Is he slight chunky?
Right.
Like what? Like these are all
How
the
big are his
important things.
tits? All right, Lorne answered with a slight smile, knowing Derek just wanted someone to. Lorne sat down in the chair across from the one that Derek had occupied when he arrived. Derek returned with a second peeler and a couple glasses filled with ice and coke. Should be iced tea. Must be happy to finally be home, huh? Yeah, kind of. I liked being over there too. Lorne's mind began to drift a little, and Derek noticed it. Thoughts, Cornville?
What? Oh, I don't, I don't, I don't have any. I just don't. Yeah, kind of like I liked being over there too. But
He had a
but
gay
but
lover,
did you?
so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
isn't this whole thing about you're affected by your time there? Yeah, well that's right. Outside of the homoeroticism, probably didn't enjoy much of it, I guess. But maybe that's what he's referring to. That's what he liked was the homoerotic
Uh,
exchanges between him and Paul. It's my body,
you can't
Paul.
really explain. It's my vibe. Is that a hole in your body, Paul?
And see, when he says
Yeah,
it's
kind of.
when he says it's my body, Paul, he's actually referring to Paul's body because Lorne always owns every his
Exactly.
partner's body parts.
Right, yeah. Lauren's mind began to drift in thought a little, and Derek noticed it. I know it must be a little hard on you. I've heard some stories about some of the things people go through over there, so if you don't want to talk about any of it, I understand. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that, Lauren replied. We sat and talked for a couple hours while they peeled potatoes,
Holy
while they peeled
shit!
800 potatoes.
Hours and hours of peeling potatoes.
How long does it take to peel one potato? Like 1 to 2 minutes? So,
Oh, Max,
one
like fucking
120 potatoes they peeled in total?
wow.
What are they preparing for?
I
Is
don't.
there like a local celebration of potatoes that Derek is working for the city and he has to peel? So,
Yeah, like a couple of hours of peeling potatoes. Like you say, even if you had 2 minutes of potato, that's 120 potatoes, but then there's two of them, so you'd have to assume they're doing equal work. So that's 240 potatoes just in the time that Lorne was there, and Derek's already been peeling fucking potatoes. so,
right.
so many fucking potatoes.
I guess this is an Irish town.
Yeah.
A lot of Irish immigrants.
Oh, come and help me
Derek
peel
caught Lauren up.
potatoes.
Derek caught Lauren up on what he had been doing since graduation, and plus let him in
but but
on what
and is
he knew.
and is already a plus in the terms of a sentence. Like, and is the
It's like
additional
it's a bit
component
offer.
there.
Right. Derek caught Lauren up on what he had been doing since graduation, and plus let him know. It's very conversational. That does not okay. And let him in on what he knew about some of the other friends from school. Oh, I'll finish this paragraph and then I'll say. Lauren stayed and ate lunch with Derek and then went back home so he could start making calls to find out where his friend Paul was buried. So, is this Derek's house? Does he live with his family? No mention of Derek's family. That could have been an interesting scene.
Well, yeah.
some parents of your friends. But also, Lauren has been back in town since graduation. He came
Yes.
back for a few weeks during
Yeah,
basic
that's
training.
right. That's right. And
Did say hi to his best friend, I guess.
I hope they had fucking potatoes for lunch. Like,
Well, they must have.
fucking hell.
Okay, once he found a blank piece of paper, he pulled open the drawer to where his mother kept the phone book. He pulled it out. Why didn't he just Google this? He pulled it out and set it on the table and began thumbing through pages until he found the phone number for Veteran Affairs. He removed the portable phone from its base and began punching in the numbers. He held the phone against his ear with his shoulder as he put the phone book back in the drawer and waited for the call to be answered. Veteran Affairs, how may I direct your call? The voice on the other end asked. Hi, Lauren replied. I need to find out where a friend of mine is buried, and I'm not sure who it is that I need to talk to for that information, for all that good information. Hold on, and I'll hold on, and I'll connect you with the proper department. The operator answered. Lauren waited patiently and listened to the hold music while he waited while he waited for the operator to connect him with the person he needed to talk to. After a few minutes of waiting, the music stopped, and a young sounding voice came to the other end of the line. Current Affairs, this is Valerie. Hi. He's in love with Valerie right now. I can tell.
Yeah,
I can just
absolutely.
tell.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Lauren Armstrong.
Will you marry me?
You sound so sweet. I need to find out where my friend is buried, and I wanted to know if you could help me out with that. Yes, I can. What is the name? Valerie asked. Staff Sergeant Paul Pablo. She didn't ask the rank. Paul Pablo, Lauren replied, as he held back the hurt in his throat. In his voice. Where was he last stationed? She asked. In Mosul, Iraq. That's where he was killed also. Give me a couple minutes while I put you on hold and find that information for you, okay? Okay, thank you. She would just type it into a database. She'd go, Paul, Pablo, he's buried at this location.
Yeah.
She wouldn't take me a few minutes.
No.
Lauren waited patiently again and listened to a different song. Oh my god. Listened to a different song from the hold music. Then he heard from the last time he was on hold. Okay, so Cornville, he listened to a different song, not the same one.
No. And
We don't
that's
know what
important.
song
That's
it
important
was.
to know. But well, that's right. We don't
This
know.
is world building. God. He wrote down the words Paul's grave on the piece of paper.
But okay, why? Like he's obviously
Exactly.
trying to, like if he writes, he writes down the location of the cemetery and the lot within that thing. Like if he writes that down, he didn't have Paul's grave on it. What is he going to come back, a few hours later and go, huh? What was this in
How's this?
relation to? What lot 3, fucking 13 Cemetery Street. I can't remember what this is in relation to. Oh well, better throw it out. Like that this is for Paul's grave. Like that's the whole focus of everything. Besides peeling potatoes, that's been your only focus this whole day.
Yeah, and Smokey the Cat, it's Pablo. If you will read on the screen, it says Pablo. It has changed. Okay, so
That's very
don't bring that shit in here. Okay, it's Pablo. I know my Pablas versus Pablos.
and that's very common when you die for
Hmm.
your last letter to change. So I mean when I die, I'll be Cornville 3 Wan. I assume.
I'll just be Eel Reer.
Yeah, Eel Reerg.
Oh,
You're just gonna lose the G altogether.
Exactly. It's like releasing your bowels when you die. You release the bowels, lose the last letter of your last name. He wrote down the words Paul's grave on a piece of paper and traced the letters a second time while he waited and thought. Okay, so he's like nervous. He's just one time. Finally, the music stopped and Valerie returned on the line. Hello, Mr. Armstrong, Valerie spoke. Yes, Lauren replied. I've
Hello,
located
Mrs.
your friend.
Armstrong, Lorne replied.
Yeah, right. Future Mrs. Lauren Armstrong.
Valerie
Computer
Marie
is telling me.
Armstrong.
Ooh, I got a job interview on Monday. Is he not looking for work, by the way? Dude, gotta looking for a job. Okay, the computer is telling me that he is buried at Mount Pleasant Cemetery in Huntington, Indiana. I
Well,
guess
I mean, I,
Paul was
I take it
born.
back. Thank God he wrote Paul's grave, because if you came back to the paper and you saw Mount Pleasant Cemetery, you're like, why on earth did I write down Mount Pleasant Cemetery?
Better throw this away and never think about it again. Because as you know, as a veteran, you only get one call to Veteran Affairs.
That's
You
right.
got to make
You
that call
waste that
count.
call, you know. You must, you
Lauren
must
wrote
like
the
me a whole
information,
lot to give me
Valerie.
that information, Valerie.
Lauren wrote the information Valerie had given him on the paper in front of him and thanked her for her help. He looked at the information again as he pressed the off button on the
The off
phone.
button.
Again, the off button on the phone.
So,
A
so
deep breath.
he turns his phone off when he finishes a call.
He has yet to turn the light in his living room into the off switch. It's been on for 3 days at this point. When he came home, he turned it on. And we've never heard him turn it off, so it's still on. He's burning through electricity like a motherfucker.
Lord.
Took in a deep breath and let it out heavily. He walked down the hall to his bedroom, removed his clothes, and got dressed in his military uniform. Okay, all right. I thought he was just gonna get naked. He stopped by the flower shop on the way and picked up a bouquet of flowers for Paul's grave, along with a couple American flags to
He's gonna stick it
stick
in.
on both sides of it. Yep, to stick on both sides of the headstone. So apparently, like Paul was buried really close to him.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Is there any explanation why?
none, none. And just in the chat,
Okay, great.
Smokey the cat's already dead, so they're gonna be Smokey the cunt now with the way their names
Oh,
changed
that's
post
good.
death. And evil will be evil little McNuggler.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Evil little McNuggla. All right, once he found the cemetery, he parked his car and began walking around in search for Paul's gravestone. After 30 minutes of searching, he found it located at the bottom of the big hill under a maple tree, about 30 feet from a stream that ran along beside the cemetery. I'd like to point out that cemeteries, especially large ones, have street names. So he just went to the cemetery, forgot that it was Mount Pleasant Cemetery. She just gave him Mount Pleasant Cemetery.
Yeah, like she
It's
didn't give
just a
him the
cemetery.
lot. She didn't give him the lot number or anything like that. Like it was
Mhm.
just go to the cemetery and look at every single grave until you find him, Lorne.
Yeah, it should be kind of fresh. It was kind of recent.
Yeah, yeah.
He placed the bouquet of flowers in front of the headstone, next to some others that someone had left there. Then stabbed the long sticks with the
Stabbed.
small American flags. This is very graphic. Yeah, he
Like
stabbed the American flags into the ground on either side of
and
the
like stab
gravestone.
is a real aggressive action. So he's like picked them up and just launched them into the ground.
Come in there. Yeah, yeah, he's very aggressive here. After putting the flags in place, he sat down on the grass in front of the headstone. He looked down and plucked a couple strands of grass from the ground, then looked back up at the headstone with his eyes full of tears as he began talking to Paul Stone. This is the only appropriate time in the story where he should be talking to himself, by the way.
Yes. Yep.
I
Very
made it
true.
home alive, Paul. Wish you were here with me. It would be really nice to have someone to talk to about what my feelings are inside. Okay, Cornville, I'm gonna get through this entire monologue and then we'll talk about it, okay?
Oh
Because I have
no.
about 1,000
I
thoughts
will.
already.
I'll hold my thoughts to myself till then.
Okay. It would be really nice to have someone here to talk about what my feelings are inside. I feel like a completely different person. I feel like I'm trapped inside myself and it's driving me crazy. I try my best to hide it, but I think sometimes people can tell something's wrong with me, especially my mom. It's hard to hide things from her, but I can't talk to her about what I'm feeling either because she didn't go through things we went through. Nobody can understand that feeling unless they've been there. I'm afraid it might be driving me insane. On my way home from the airport, I swear I saw you standing on the side of the road when we rounded a corner. You were standing there in your uniform holding a rifle. It kind of threw me when it happened. I'm not sure what it was all about, or what it was about, or if it was about anything. But it's let me know that I may never be normal again. Well, I guess I better be heading back home before my mother thinks something happened to me. I can constantly see how worried she is about me. Goodbye, my friend. Okay, okay.
Yep.
My God, that was a fucking. Uh, so his main concern, his friend has died,
Mhm.
and the tragedy therein is that he's not alive anymore to help Lorne with his PTSD. Not Paul's dead,
Mhm.
can't grow up and grow old. His loved ones can't see him bloom into the fully grown adult that he'll be. He can't find love or start a family or pursue any goals of his own. The tragedy is that he isn't there to help Lorne.
Mm.
I, that's what that was about. I just gonna put that out there.
Exactly, and in a lot of ways, Paul's an asshole. I mean, he never considered what his death would do to Lorne. He never considered the impact, you know, and that Lorne would have no one to talk to. He really should have thought about that before he was killed in action. Like,
Before he chose to take that bullet. I
yeah,
mean, what a selfish asshole. Like,
self
fuck you, Paul.
selfish motherfucker. Yeah, honestly, he barely even deserves a mention. And I also want to talk about that fucking, I can't even find it now, but that where it was like
Dan Jones says it's just like Tony Farmer's death. It's just like he isn't here to help me work around the house. He used to be really good helping me. Sometimes when he'd help me, he was kind of an asshole, but he was a good guy to drink with, so I can't drink with him anymore. Like, dude, your friend died.
exactly, it is exactly like that. Well said. Um, but it's just like everything. Everything is about Lorne. It doesn't matter what what happens. Like, and there's more and more examples throughout this, but it's just incredible.
How
He
about instead of go ahead.
Yeah, he's just so selfish. But in in this book that he's writing, he has every chance. I mean, this is fiction. He could make himself out to be a decent person. You know, he doesn't have to be selfish in this, but he is so selfish that he cannot see past that. He thinks that the way he acts is correct, which is why he's put it in here. Whereas if he was just a
Yeah,
selfish person and he knows that about himself, but it's not something he can or wants to change, he could have written, his fictional character as someone better than that. But even Lorne can't fictionally make himself better.
yeah, and I agree with Shin's just said. He's probably like he thought this was going to be a heart-wrenching scene. The reader would be like, "Wow, Paul really isn't there to help Lorne."
Mm.
I never thought of it that. Like, you know what? I apologize for continuing to suggest ways to polish this turd, but it's just impossible. My mind is like, anything would improve this book. Why not go and visit his parents?
Mm.
Then break down there and go, oh, I saw him. I thought I saw him, and I'm not sure if I can get back to being the person I used to be. And they can forgive him. They can go, oh, it's okay, Lauren. We got letters from Paul, and he said such great things about you. And that would be a heart wrenching chapter.
Mm.
No, he just goes to the grave and bitches about how his mom can tell that he's not feeling right.
Yeah, but and in that scene, if he did do something like that, once again, he would make it all about him. Like it would be Paul's
Right?
parents
Yeah.
consoling him and go, Absolutely, Lorne. This is obviously much harder on you than it is us, his parents. We are so sorry for your loss,
Right.
Lorne." Fucking idiot.
We know you were lovers,
Yeah.
and I just can't imagine what you're going.
He did tell us you were a tenderhead though.
Okay, after that dumpster fire, Lawrence stood up and brushed off some loose grass from the seat of his pants. then stood at attention to salute his friend's grave.
It's standing up by itself. It's standing up on its own.
It's saluting on its own. It is literally saluting on its own right now.
Baby! Baby!
After letting his arm down, he wiped another tear from his eye, then turned and made his way back to his car. He regained his composure on his way home. He was able to have a good solid conversation with his mother about how his day was and how her day was. I feel a little better now that I was able to go visit Paul's grave. It's a nice location, he told her. That's good. I know you must have had a hard time with it though, so if you want to talk about anything, you know that I'm here for you. She keeps driving this shit home. She's like, man, that must have been tough for you. You must be having a tough time. Are you feeling okay? Like, stop. That's one of the worst things that you can do when trying to like console people is keep bringing up how they must not be feeling okay. So fucking ridiculous. She told him without pressure. She knew it wouldn't do him any good to be pressured into talking about what he was feeling. All it would do is make it harder for him to deal with what he went through and what and was going through. Thank you, Mom, I appreciate that. But it's too deep for me to talk about right now, he replied with regret. Okay, whenever you feel ready, I'm here, she said to try and comfort him. Lauren quickly moved the conversation by asking her if she knew what the weather was going to be tomorrow. But before she could answer, the telephone rang. Oh, here we go, everyone. You've really stuck through. You've got through the bullshit. We're about to enter the golden age of this book. Here's where the meat and potatoes is.
Yeah.
Well, earlier was where the potatoes were, but here's where the meat is.
Here's the meat. Hello?
His mother picked up the phone. His mother picked the phone up off its base and pressed the talk button. Excellent. Hello? Hi, Mrs. Armstrong. This is Derek. Is Lauren there? I guess he's talking really loudly because apparently Lauren can hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, he is, she answered.
This is
Hold on
Derek!
one second.
Is Lauren there?
Well,
Yes,
Mama
he
Gwen is
is.
really elderly.
Yeah,
Remember,
true.
she had an aged cheek, so, yeah, exactly. Hold on a second. Hold on one second. She handed the phone over to Lauren. It's Derek, she informed him. Hey, Derek, what's up? Lauren asked his old high school friend, in case you've forgotten. They're old friends. Hey, Lauren, I wanted to see what you are doing on Friday night. Nothing that I know of right now, Lauren answered. If I set you up on a blind date, would you want to go? Derek asked. Yeah, I guess, Lauren replied in surprise. Good, can you be ready at 8 o'clock? Sure. Good. The girl's name is Brooke. She's 20 years old. You're going on a double date with me and my girlfriend Amy. Brooke is Amy's friend, Derek explained. I would... Stop, okay? Interesting thing to point out here. Lauren did not meet this girl at the gym, or at church, or at work. He did not bump into somebody at the grocery store and have like a meet cute. He did not go to a party and say, hey, Derek, who's that cute girl over there? Oh, well, that's Brooke. That did not happen. Derek called Lauren up and said, I have a woman for you. Here she is. And I think that that's really telling. I think that that's a very interesting part of the Brook.
The Brook. I do too. Like, I think both in the terms of that is how, Lord would want it to happen because he wouldn't want to do any work or, take any risks or that kind of thing. But it also says to me that he's never had an actual date. He's never been in those scenarios where he would go and approach someone. It's just, Derek's like, I got a woman for you.
Here she is.
She's
She's coming over on Friday. Right. Have the condoms ready. Have the condoms and the sterling silver bracelet ready.
And I still am amazed he didn't make Brooke Kayla.
Yeah, I think maybe in the first draft it was Kayla, but he was like,
That's another one of those things.
Unsavory.
I had hoped he'd done like a find and replace, but like one Kayla remained.
Should
because he
we?
spelt it without a Y or something.
should we do a find and replace for Brooke going forward and make it
Absolutely.
Kayla?
Absolutely. It would be
Let's do it. Let's do
stupid
it.
not to. Also, I'll adjust that for next week. But every mention of Brooke from now on, just make it Kayla.
Okay, Lauren answered. All right, I'll talk to you on Friday, Derek stated before hanging up. Before hanging up his end of the phone. Bye, Lauren pressed the off button on the phone and placed it back on its base.
No, but hang,
That's
no,
a you want.
stop.
Okay.
So,
Go
all
ahead.
right, I'll talk to you on Friday. Derek stated before hanging up his end of the phone. So, Derek has hung up, and Lorne then says, bye. To no one. So they're talking away. He's like, all right, I'll talk to you on Friday. Beep. Bye. Like,
Yeah.
it's not there. Like, unless you were making that like in a sarcastic manner, which you would have had to written it differently, be like he hung up on you without giving you a chance. You're like, oh, bye, asshole. Like,
You're
it
right.
doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yeah. Lauren always has to have the last word, so I think that's what that was.
Yeah.
All right. What did he want? Lauren's mother asked. He wanted to know if I wanted to go on a double date with him and his girlfriend Amy and her friend Brooke and her friend Kayla. Lauren replied to his mom with a smirk. Are you going? She asked. Yes. You didn't have anything special planned for me Friday night. You didn't tell me about yet, did you? He asked. He's an adult.
Oh my God.
Nope. I
Mummy,
think it's great that
Mummy, have you planned
Did
anything
you-
for us Friday night? Mummy. Fucking loser.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? Could you
Well-
imagine? Could you imagine being 19 and like 19 is not that inconceivably long ago for me. It's 7 years ago, right?
Mhm.
I did not talk like this to my friends. If I had plans with my friends and my mom was like, "Oh, I have something planned for you that day," I'd be like, "No, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. You got something planned for me?" No. Okay. What is it? You got a dentist appointment?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I gotta go to that actually.
But that's right. Like what if she was like, oh well, Lord, I did have us planned to play rummy all night. So after doing us, Derek, oh, I'm sorry, Derek. Mum says I can't go.
Eric, I can't go. Yeah. Like,
Fucking loser.
yeah. I feel like Derek is like fucking with him. You know what I mean? He's peeling potatoes when he comes over. He's like, "Hey, why don't you do my work for me?" He hangs up on him without saying goodbye. Like, this is great.
Yep.
You didn't have anything special planned for me Friday night that you didn't tell me about yet, did you? He asked. Nope, I think it's great that you've got a date. I hope you have fun, she replied with a smile. Yeah, you're just hoping for grandchildren, huh? He
What?
asked jokingly. Mate.
What?
These two, I have such an odd.
You haven't even met her yet, and you're talking about grandchildren.
Well, I mean, they're gonna fall in love. It's a woman. This is Lorne.
The only woman he has gotten, so that it needs to work.
Of course, if things don't work out with him and Kayla, then he's got Valerie on backup, so
That's true.
they're good to go there.
You could tell how keen she was.
Yeah, the way she made him wait for 2 minutes, I mean,
Yep.
she wanted it.
Playing hard to get.
Maybe. Yeah. But whatever you do, make sure the woman you have children with is the one that you really want to be with. Oh,
Fuck
mother asked.
you.
Yeah,
Fucking
they
hell.
haven't even gone out on a date. Like, you know how many first dates you like? Okay, I know that Lauren's never been on a date, but like, it's like diminishing returns. It's like the an exponential function where the amount of people that you talk to is like 100% of the people that you talk to. The people that you go on a first date with is like 50% of the people. The people that you go on a second date with is 25% of the people. It like keeps getting smaller. The odds that this woman is gonna marry him and have his idiot children is like 0.2%. But she's treating it like it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I mean,
Already planning the wedding.
they've already got grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get the wedding dress tomorrow. I will, Mom. Don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to be stuck with just anyone. Lauren smiled at his mom, being so protective of his future.
Because he's such a catch, couldn't settle.
Yeah, oh my god. Is the next chapter the one we talked about this. Then what is it, drive 137? If it's not exponential, it's the opposite of exponential. It's a reverse exponential. I didn't take math after 8th grade. But the next chapter is the one where they go on their first date
Yep.
and get married, or have sex for the first time, and have a kid. Is
Yes,
that the next chapter?
I think so. Well, as Shins puts it, chapter 6, Lorne meets a vagina. So,
Miss Vagina,
Miss
Shins.
Vagina.
Miss Vagina.
So I think I was
Okay.
planning on doing both, but that chapter 5 was a lot longer than I remembered. So,
I think I
so
think chapter 5 is almost as long as chapters 1 through 4.
yes,
I
I think
legit think in page count.
you're right. So I think we'll leave it there, and do chapter 6 next week. I want to give it, the attention it deserves.
Right.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on this chapter that we've just read?
Again, like I feel like I say this every week. A lot's happened and nothing's happened. It's just he sat around, he was tired, he made out with his mom like 10 times. I think we hear that he kisses his mom more than he kisses his wife in
Yes.
this.
Yep.
So it's like I I don't know. I'm very concerned about how nothing has been set up. And also, I said this last week, but in the first his goal, the main character's goal is to join the army. Accomplished. And now he's just kind of meandering around. There's no goal or purpose to our character. There's no other characters who have plot lines going on. There's nothing that's been set up. This would be good. It was set up at the beginning that he had like a girlfriend and she was like, don't join the army. If you join the army, we'll break up, and she's not right for him. And then now there's been like an undercurrent of like a love life, but no, it's just thrown on us here.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's but yeah,
Your
and
thoughts?
that whole, well, look, it's just there was a whole lot of nothing. That was the longest chapter in the book, and all we really found out about what his favorite foods are, peeling potatoes, and the fact that he's got a date with Kayla. Like that's but in there, in terms of the way that this story should develop, like this should have been, in terms of the events that happened, this should have been a transitional chapter. This should have been finding about more about this PTSD that he has, more about kind of what happened while he was institutionalized or in the mental hospital, however he put it. Like, we should have got a lot about that. We should have got to find out about things that, more about, rather than just seeing Paul, on the corner, found out more stuff about, okay, he was having these visions. He was having those when he was in the hospital. What the doctors had to say about these, that kind of stuff, and also you don't just get released and off you go. Like, there would have been follow-up appointments he would have been having, that kind of stuff. We didn't find out any about that. We just found out about fucking mashed potato and ham cubes, and like there was more talk of potatoes than he's developing mental
There
illness.
was, yeah. There was more talk about potatoes than why he lost it. There was a longer paragraph about peeling potatoes
Mm,
than the 3 children dying, resulting in him losing it, quote unquote. And as Dan Jones said a little while ago, I completely forgot about the mental institution. I completely forgot he was in a psychiatric ward.
yeah, and look, and
Slipped my mind.
And as
It's so
speaking of Dan
unimportant.
Jones, as he says that, as he says PTSD, like, I said PTSD, but I mean, we haven't been told that. We didn't hear his diagnosis.
Just lost it.
I've made an assumption there, like, because
Yeah.
we didn't find that out, which would have been really fucking important. But
Right.
yeah, just amazing. So look, thank
But
you.
beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So before we wrap up, anything you want to say? Just in, you got anything?
Uh,
Um,
nope. Excited for next week
yeah, mate. Well,
and the
thanks,
next chapter.
thanks for doing this with me again. Like, this is, despite this being a bit frustrating, this one, this book is a lot of fun to go through. So thanks
Yeah, thank you
again.
so much for having me on to do it.
No, no, pleasure. And thanks everyone in the chat. It's always you guys that make all these so much fun. So we'll catch you next week. I will catch you tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow I'll be, and so will Winnie's boyfriend slash husband will be on Vast Ravioli stream. Um, she's doing like a fundraiser. One of her friends is going through a bit of a rough time. So hoping to meet the you know fundraising goal there. We're going to be playing some more calm chords against humanity again, playing some lawn bingo. So it should be, and we'll be playing some lawn calls while we do that. So it should be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys there. I'll put the link up to it when the schedule is up. But yeah, until then, don't forget to delete your archives and see you all soon.